Well, hello, fellow traveler on the road to liberty. Welcome to the as yet unnamed and untitled Lions of Liberty documentary. Now, my own personal suggestion is liberty, her legs spread. But that's not up to me to decide because, as you know, I am but one of three founders and hosts on the Lions of Liberty website, podcast, Instagram feed, Twitter empire, which we have built and which you have enjoyed. Now, you might notice I'm wearing a kimono. I don't view this as cultural appropriation because, frankly, cultural appropriation is fucking stupid. All trade, all commerce, all growth from different cultures is based upon mutual trade. Taking what you like, rejecting what you don't like, but the best idea is servicing to the top, and that's the free market. So, I wear this kimono as a signal of my worldliness, to let you know that I come as a man who has traveled. This is, of course, from Japan. Fun fact, they don't have trash cans in many of the cities in Japan. Takes some getting used to. Had to put a lot of cans in a lot of mailboxes until I became acculturated. And then I just put them in my own pockets. But that's neither here nor there, because I'm here today to tell you in my own words about the history of the Lions of Liberty. Now, of course, my compatriots, Mark, Claire, and John Odermatt, told you of this on their woe. Their woe? Now, my compatriots, John Odermatt and Mark Claire, told you of their story on the way back from Porkfest, which the auteur of this very documentary shot most of the footage of debauchery, of various things, which I don't even know because I haven't seen them yet. All I know is there were lasers. But they told you the history of our founding, our brotherhood, in their own words, and thus I shall tell you in mine. So, fellow traveler on the road to liberty, buckle up, put some booze and drugs in your knapsack, and listen to a tale of liberty.
And I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
I believe very sincerely that the CIA is correct when they teach and talk about blowback.
Story of Lions of Liberty. Where does it start? It starts, I guess, on 408 East Fairmount Ave in State College, Pennsylvania. It really started, as these stories often go, with a gentleman named Ron Paul, and really just his bravery out on the stage when he was running for president. The fact that he could openly call, just point out that 9/11 and events like that are directly caused by our interventions overseas, get made fun of by the moderators, by all the other serious candidates up there. He can call for legalizing heroin and get laughed at, but continue to stand his ground and say the same thing. So that kind of thing inspired me and some of my friends that came into things around the same time to get more active. And the one night I was hanging out with Mark at a little dive bar. Mark starts ranting, as Mark does, ranting about politics and about this congressman from Texas who's a Republican. And he's anti-war, and he's talking about the Federal Reserve, and he's talking about how they've ruined the economy, and that's a lot of stuff I never even thought about that before, the impact of the Fed.
And coincidentally, one of our brothers at our fraternity, after he had graduated, he ended up being a congressional page. And he had interactions with Ron Paul and started talking about this man, this incredible vision. This man had the passion, the principle that he had primarily to Mark at the time. We were so inspired by his message that Mark and I went out campaigning. We went door to door, which was, as you would imagine, a big pain in the ass in Los Angeles. We decided we wanted to start our own website. And we were big members of the Daily Paul at the time.
Us all being from Penn State, we adopted the lion moniker, I guess you could say, as our symbol, and it also represented the passion, the roaring, if you will, for the ideas of liberty.
They don't come here to attack us because we're rich and we're free. They come and they attack us because we're over there.
First time you hear a politician say stuff like that, it kind of shakes your worldview.
Gotten together, Mark and I had Liberty events out here. We had a beer pong tournament in Los Angeles, which I think I won.
We started writing articles and really challenging our own philosophy. And from that point, Mark sort of just started a podcast by accident.
Mark spun off, he did his podcast. I said, that's too much damn effort for me, man. But God bless his little soul. He decided to spin it off, and sure as shit, he started getting some traction. He started getting some names because there just really wasn't that many. There weren't that many people in the podcasting space.
I just started listening to a lot of podcasts, and that's what I found myself doing all the time. And I just couldn't find. It sounds like a ridiculous thing to say now, because hardly any libertarian doesn't have a podcast. At the time, I couldn't really find libertarian podcasts. There was no consistent libertarian podcast that you could just tune into every single whatever it was every week, a couple times a week. That really didn't exist as far as I could tell. So I just figured I'd start it. And right when I was starting, I knew I was going to take over the podcast world. That same week, I put the first podcast out. I see another podcast come up, and it's by this guy named Tom Woods. And he's going to do a 5-day-a-week show. So I figured, all right, I have a little bit of competition.
Mark really took it on himself and built that initiative to get it going. And as we saw it grow, we added on. We were doing the website and the podcast for a while. Then we said, okay, you know what? This website, screw this. Podcasting is the future.
I just want to be kind of a launching pad in some ways, a way people dip their toe in or get more interested or even keep diving in and learning more and more about topics from the various guests we bring on.
That's actually how I know everybody up here and everybody down here. So
that's Daddy. He formed all the podcasts. It's the progenitor.
Call me Daddy.
I refuse to call you Daddy.
He's way more into it than he's letting on, folks, I promise.
I'm sleeping in your room tonight, and I'll call you Daddy all you want.
I was in a threesome yesterday with Joy Reid and Anderson Cooper. Sure, Joy Reid blogged years ago about hating the gays, but she loves to watch.
So here's the point. No offense to you dog lovers out there, but I own 3 cats. Their names are Rourke, Ragnar, and Reardon. And I name them that because they are inherently libertarian. They're independent-minded. They won't mess with you as long as you don't mess with them, so they are ascribers to the non-aggression principle. Dogs, on the other hand, are always looking for a handout. They're always begging for something for free. They're communists.
Those, yeah. This is when the Howie questions start firing out.
They're like, I just want to talk.
All right, so it's like someone's the hair. They take off first, and they put marks on the ground like chalk. Yeah. But some of them are like beer near. If you come across that, you have to go to the nearest bar, like do a shot, and then you like continue on.
That's a thing you did in the Army?
We just went to the bar and drank. That's all we did. Fight.
I admire everything you've done too, and I appreciate that I've been on the show several times. I'm glad to be back.
Very cool.
So we all started getting on the podcast thing, and John was first, Felony Fridays. That, got a great reception, incredibly important work.
Felony Fridays started as one of those weekly articles that I did, just talking about crazy shit in the criminal justice system. And then Mark convinced me, well, you should do the same thing, but just instead of writing, just talk about it.
He would start to come on the podcast once in a while just to do a segment about it called, I think we called it the Felony Report. So he would just come down, run through some stories, and that would just be sort of an occasional segment.
That really caught on. People really liked hearing from people who had suffered through injustice, which almost everyone agrees that the criminal justice system is fucked up. So I think there's a lot of crossover appeal.
We have Brian McWilliams, and Electric Liberty Land is his podcast.
And then I came in last because I'm lazy, but lazy is usually the best. And as we know, I am the best. The other guy's going to be like, cut this scene from that.
And my friend Brian started coming on, and he started doing this show about Rand Paul called Rand Paul Pluses and Minuses. So as I started to build the show up, in the meantime, we also did our Libertarians in Living Rooms Drinking Liquor shows, where I just brought on my friends, people, fellow Libertarians, all this part of the same crew, and we just kind of sat around drinking, shooting the shit, just like we did back in college when we all became friends. And that was part of my thought process the whole time. I just knew I wanted to include these other people once I got things rolling. But eventually, yeah, these little segments they were doing on the show, eventually it just made sense. Like, why don't you guys do your own actual show?
So I just said, okay, I'm jumping in. So I started Electric Liberty Land up about, 2 years.
I really think the variety show has really proven to be our strength, because we all have, similar outlooks overall, but we have different takes on different things.
What's amazing about it is you had a disparate group of friends, right? We were on the fraternity, Phi Kappa Tau, at Penn State, and it kept us together as a friend group, and it brought people together that weren't friends in college. That intellectual connection and that brotherhood we fostered even furthered that. Talking about liberty, it's having something to fight against too.
The fact that I've been able to incorporate all the people that I've had so much fun just getting to know this whole time, the last 20 years or so into the show, is amazing.
To the point now where people, friends and family have been converted to a liberty standpoint from what we've been doing. What we're saying matters now and forever. You cannot give up on freedom. You cannot give up on personal civil liberties. You cannot give up on free markets and the way to associate with people. And we are fighting that fight. And no matter what happens to this show, what we've done here will continue on.
It's wild times now, and here we are. This is the culmination of 6 years of podcasting.
So I guess that's it. That's the history of the Lions of Liberty. I don't know if I added anything special. I don't know if I took anything away, probably leeching away interesting facts, but there it is. I don't want to take too much time up in this goddamn documentary. And really, I'm just happy I got to break the kimono out for you, special people.